of kind of thing, at some point of time later into the discussion. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Mayuresh, and before I hand over the mic, we're going to start with his childhood, right? And he did his schooling in this very lovely school called St. Vincent's, all the way from grade 1 to grade 12. And as part of his introduction, he had talked a little bit about his friendship over there. And so this is Kamni from grade 8B who wants to know that he had this very nice friend of it called Gayo. Okay, we'll kind of call him Gayo because the name is too complicated to pronounce without too many vowels, right? And there are two questions. One is, Mayuresh, before you met Gayo, you were an introvert, right? And Kamni wants to know that, do you think introverts are facing more problems like bullying, etc., in school or not? What's your reaction to that? And second, of course, is the curiosity to know what Gayo is up to nowadays. Are you still in touch with him? Right. So I'll hand over the mic to you. And
hi, friends. So, yeah, I mean, this is interesting that there are some points that I have mentioned, of course, and I have been reserved more than an introvert. That's what I would say. I've written that I'm an introvert, but I think introvert is too strong a word. Um, as a child, I think what has happened is I've generally grown up in a family with elder sisters, and my brothers were younger to me. So I think that makes you a little shy. That makes you a little reserved. With a, I mean, Vincent's is a all boys school possibly. So stepping into an all boys school and interacting with students, and as a child also, one is shy. So it was not that I was shy or introvert before I met Gayo. Generally, I've been shy even in my school days, because one reason of it is also when one is not very well built, and that that keeps you reserved. You want to stay out of other people's affairs. You don't want to be beaten up. I mean, that's also a criteria for keeping away from all these, which you call a bully. But frankly, if you say bullying happens in all schools, if you look at it that way, but then it's just a matter of interaction of, heftier children who just want to play around. But there has been a situation where possibly I've been kicked, but I don't know by who and when. But one just tends to forget it, and then we were always friends, anyways. Even eventually, we were always friends. So, do I remember a bullying incident per se? Not really, not really. And the introvertness doesn't make people bully you. I think you just have to be friends, not keep on, let's say, overtly talking, but be friends with everybody. So I have been friends with quite a lot of people. And so, as I said, Gayo, in Vincent's, we didn't really know who was of what religion or what caste or whatever. So it's like while growing up, we had these friends who were really from a different background, which we didn't know, but we were fast friends. So the next question that you asked, yeah. So Gayo is still in touch with me, and a typical Bawa, a Parsi, he has typical traits of a Parsi. So he's so gregarious that he would, like, he's quite hefty, tall, and then he would hug me. And yes, we are in touch with each other. So whenever we are on call, let's say I call him up, my wife definitely knows that I'm talking to Gayo, because we are laughing a lot, reminiscing a lot of our past stories, and he he also thinks that I am his first friend from Vincent's. And that happened because both of our mothers were sitting next to each other, we on their respective sides, and then eventually, they got talking. So possibly that made us friends eventually. So yes, we are in touch.
what does he do? What's his profession now?
Uh, I think he's into business. He supplies molasses for the sugar industry. Yeah, yeah. He's in the sugar industry, yes.
Right. So next question coming your way, Mayuresh.
Yeah.
Unless the camera is very shaky, in which case we won't do that. Right? So this is a question coming in from Divyansh, and he wants to know what's the basic qualification for the architecture course, and what happens in an architecture course? Is it just building design, or is there something else also that's part of the architecture course?
Yeah, interesting question where you talk about wanting to be an architect. Now, architecture happens after the 12 years that you study, after the 12th standard. There is you need to have maths and English as your subjects, and I think there was a that you needed to have at least 50% overall and 50% in your maths and English and sciences. Okay, but this year, because of the lockdown, that has been a little that has been relaxed. But there is also an entrance exam that that you have to give. It's called the NATA. The NATA classes are held, and then you have to give that NATA entrance exam, and then depending on what you score in that, many kind of architecture schools. There are quite a few architecture schools. In fact, in Pune there are almost 28. Yeah. So, but there are of course gradations in the schools. So depending on how much you score in the NATA and your percentage, there's a cumulative effect, and then you can get admission based. It's an like a centralized admission scheme. So then they will allot you a school. So that is what it is. When you're doing architecture, they teach you the basics of design, and then as you grow up, as you go through the 5 years of architecture, they will teach you systems like services that we need for architecture, and mainly it's to do with building design. Then eventually, after doing architecture, you can foray into multiple offshoots of architecture, which could be landscape design, urban design, but there are also other offshoots now which talk about product design. Then there is like visual communication. Then you can also be a set designer, or nowadays I see many architects also a part of the software industry. So I think it's not only architecture that people continue. And I being an architect, I do some architecture, but I do a lot of interiors as well, interior design, and then interior coordination. So that's what the outlay is for architects. And I think there's a large scope nowadays for design, for pure design. So you can also get into pure design, which is anything like a human interface, like user interface. Yeah, right.
So thanks, Mayuresh. Now the next question is from Jaspreet Kaur, who's in grade 10A, and she wants to know, when you design anything, what are the steps in the process, and how does one go about organizing for design in some sense? So kind of a process, if you want to call it.
Okay. Well, design for me, design is an individual process. Individual, by individual I mean not only like a personal process, but individual I mean even if it's a team, it's their collective minds that go ahead and design. Okay, so design is built on a lot of sensibilities. There are inputs that you take. There are your ideas that you mix with it. It's like a recipe. So your ideas go into it. There are definite forms of like the the site conditions, and then there is climatic conditions, and there's also context. So all these things come together when you're designing maybe a residence, like or an architecture product, like a building. But when it's interiors, then it's within closed doors. So generally, I also look at conceptual inputs there. So the conceptual inputs could be because, um, in the middle, like let's say 5, 6 years ago, these serials that came on the television, people kept on saying that I want my house to look like the serial. So that becomes a pattern where many interior designers pick it up. But that's too cliched. Whereas a development could happen with thoughts. So you say that I want seasons as my concept, and then a designer will think about what is it with seasons. So it could be colors, textures, lines, planes, forms, which come with seasons, and then you can do up the entire house in that way. So it differs as from person to person. Individual when you are doing a design process. Now, let me break it down. Let's say that when the idea comes into or when the project comes to you, you start looking at it as a product, and then interact with each other or within yourself, that what would you think is the main germ of the development. That's where the design starts. It will develop to a certain level. We generally show it to people, to our clients, get it approved at that stage, or take their inputs again. Then again, it goes on to the design table, and again, there is a little molding to it, depending on what their requirements are. Because finally, remember that we are designers for somebody else, and they are going to occupy that space. So they should be happy with our product. So that's the output we give. Then there are inputs that are coming in more with our consultants, and they will say this will cause a problem, or this may become a little more expensive. Can you really tone it down, or is it okay with the client? Then we go ahead with that. So these are steps that go on, and then there is a final draft made, which is approved, and the final working drawing is made. Now the working drawing talks about how the design has to be implemented. So maybe the person executing on site will need specific details of where to start. There are multiple agencies coming into the picture. Each agency will get a different overlay, and they are all working in tandem. So that's how it works.
Okay, great. So next question is from Sonira of grade 8B, and she's been asking a lot of interesting questions. This is the first of her questions. She wants to know, from an architect's point of view, how will future buildings and cities look like?
Okay. Okay. That's what's her name?
Sunira.
Sunira, this is a very nice question that you ask in times where even we are trying to find ourselves. Because so future, when we look at future, we look at future at a distance. We see that, we say that, okay, like let's say 10 years down the line, what will happen? But suddenly this pandemic came on us, and our future is like, we don't know how things will happen once the lockdown is over and you start interacting. So how will residences be? So let's say that the buzzwords that were there even before the lockdown were eco-sensitivity, sustainability, and so people did make use of context. So these still hold true even now, but there have been some changes. Like let's say that I pose a question to myself, that what is the need nowadays? Are these things really relevant? For example, is travel to work really relevant? Yeah. So if travel to work is not relevant, is owning a car relevant? Now, do you understand that suddenly spaces change? Again, if there are 3, 4 members in the house, each of them is connected to everybody's, let's say, work or education. Now they are working in that same space. Is what one talking, is it disturbing somebody else in the same space? So does it change the design? Now we do need to look at design in a different context. Again, I would say, is entertainment the same? Entertainment is not. We're not going to malls. We're not going to cinema theaters. And suddenly we find our entertainment in these web series. There are new people coming up. So do we, I mean, so next stage would be immersive cinema. I don't know what kind of architecture it needs, but this is the change and you have to be ready for it. So I think future is now. And yes, then if you're looking at the buzzwords of eco sensitivity and stuff, I'll say this, that people are looking at growing their own gardens. People are looking at growing their own food, and it started happening world over. People don't want to, they want to recycle. They want to use the materials available in the land, and that's what I mean by contextuality. Does the building have to stand out in your space, or does it have to blend in your place? In the sense that, does Mumbai have to become New York, Singapore? Can Mumbai not have its own character? Or do every cities look the same? So this was a thought that started with modernism, that that boxes started happening and people started looking at simplifying design. But what happened is, then the world started becoming just one place. So do we need to look at our context, and do we need to do design in terms of our needs and our context, or do we just copy what we see where we travel? Because traveling has increased, had increased, I would say. Now it's again gone down. People need to rethink a lot. I don't know if it answers your question.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I remember that once you told me you created a building out of used plastic bottles, I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
maybe if you could just tell something which is interesting from a recycling point of view.
So well, frankly, I have not done it, but there are friends who are doing this. It's called sustainability, and it's called using materials that thrown away. For that, what they do is generally beer bottles. So there's an architect called Gerard Dacuna in Goa. So Gerard has been working on a lot of these aspects, and he's built a Nisha's play. His wife Nisha, her it's a kindergarten, Nisha's kindergarten, and that has walls made in beer bottles. So beer bottles, anything, glass is actually very sustainable, very sturdy. We think that glass won't take the weight, but when it's curved, as a beer bottle, it has a thick wall. So when you stack it up and when you lay it properly,
You have to fill it up.
you sometimes they fill it up. They fill it up with sand, but sometimes it's left open, because what happens is, when you have these beer bottles, it throws beautiful light inside. The light quality that comes in through the beer bottles is amazing. So filling is for gunny sacks. So what they do is, sand is filled in gunny bags, and then you can build walls out of that. They're thicker but sustainable. And generally, what happens is, this is a concept that even you, as future citizens, have to remember. Do we build for eternity, or do we build for ourselves? Eternity is like, then you want your children also to live in the same space. Why? They should have their choices. They can build their own stuff. So is it dismantleable and doable? So it's a thought that we need to think of. And you as children have to remember this, that, I give choices. Somebody else has different choices. Why should why should we overlay our choices on our children? There are a lot of choices that our parents and their parents have overlaid on us. And we don't want to do that for our children. So things have to change.
Okay. So what you're saying, Mayuresh, is that the building of future could probably become like Lego blocks. Once you finish, get bored, take out the Lego blocks and make something else out of it. Yeah, in some sense,
it's interesting. Yeah. No, I know. I mean, this is a word that I didn't know, but since I'm also a thesis guide, I heard it from a student of mine. Okay, so he says ephemeral.
Right.
Ephemeral is a term.
Lasting.
It's short lasting. That it's for that time. So ephemeral could mean that it's at a place and keeps on moving like a caravan. Ephemeral. It's not fixed to that place. It moves with you. Ephemeral could be also Lego blocks, that this can be restructured for something else, for some other use, because you never know what is the use of a place eventually. People will not want to, I mean, are really some professions, are they coming down? Are new professions coming up? Is a space okay for some other profession? Can it be changed? Can it be molded? That's ephemeral, and that's Lego blocks. Yes.
Okay, great. And Mayuresh, you will be very glad to see that our school is totally recyclable. Everything made of steel, right? We will hopefully be able to use it again. And if we don't, we'll get a good scrap value for it. So we kind of invested in metal.
So
Yeah, not concrete.
absolutely. And Atul, if you remember this, we've had a lot of deliberations on this, and we have spoken at length of this. I remember the Jammu school as well, where we talked about using the riverbed stones.
Correct. Anyway, that didn't get built, unfortunately, but we will kind of do it one
But
day.
I still have the design with me.
Yes.
You can use it wherever you want.
Okay, so this is going to be related to architecture, but more teaching architecture,
Right.
because you mentioned in your introduction that things have gone up. So you mentioned in your introduction that you're not very happy with the way teachers taught you, and the Gyan of grade 8. We wants to know what are you doing differently vis-a-vis your teachers. Yeah?
Okay. So yeah, okay, I'll tell you something. Okay, and this is to do with something that I did earlier. Okay, I used to do some kind of theater earlier on. I took part in something called physical theater, and a person taught us as a group. He taught us some activities to be done to perform and present, because that was something to do with no sound. We just performed on the stage, and maybe somebody said a poem from behind, or a music from behind. So it was completely without any context or without any location. It could be done everywhere, anywhere. I did this theater for some time, but then architecture happened also. I started practicing architecture, and then I found less time for doing theater. Now, I said that I can't let go of my passion, which is the theater, and I started teaching as well. So I joined the two together, and I used it to teach design. So it's a question that I ask the students when I'm making them perform. One is, all students are scared of performing or presenting. It's called expression. Now, everybody, I mean, as kids, we were like, maybe our generation was told, don't shout, okay? And only say something when you are asked a question. But generally, performance is something that you do in front of people to express your thoughts. Now, your body is a medium you're born with, right? But how many of you use your body in movement, in making, like, are you conscious of how you move your body? So it's also about that, but it's also about getting things first in your mind and then putting them forward. So I said, you're given a pencil in your kindergarten, and you've been told that this is how you write with it, and now you can do anything with your pencil. But that's a medium. Your mind is something that's driving the pencil. But when you have the body as a medium, why don't you express through your body? So theater does that. Theater makes you, inhibition free, and then you can interact with people, because we are born with a bubble around us, and we don't want people to come near us. We keep people at a distance. But why do you need to do that? I mean, of course, there are times when you do that, but there is some kind of interaction that you need to do. We need to understand what people are saying. We need to say what we want to say, and the way we say it. So I call this, there was a workshop I created for design, which was called experience and expression. So first you need to know what you are experiencing, and then express it. So that expression is an experience for somebody else. So that's the way I teach design. So that's one of the way that I created a module for teaching or learning design. Now in this process, there's no one way. It's not I am doing it and they're listening, or I'm saying and they're doing. I'm doing it along with them. I'm moving along with them. I'm dancing along with them. So that's the way I teach.
Okay. Related question from
Wow, it's raining like crazy.
Jasmanpreet Kaur,
Okay.
and she wants to know about this concept of physical theatre.
Oh, okay. I just said it.
So you just said that, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I've said something about physical theater, but I wish to you know give a thought to my mentor in physical theater. His name was David Greaves. It comes from UK, and what David had in mind is that he wanted children, like youth below the age of, let's say, 25, to take on problems of the world or issues of the world and put them in front of the world, but as a form of theater which didn't need language. Now, if you, maybe I'm shouting too much because it's too much. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead and
Yeah,
check.
okay. So physical theater was, he brought a group of children together. I was a child there. I think I was 24, 25-year old. I was the eldest there. Just did my architecture. We had a 1 month long workshop where he made us learn Bharatnatyam. He made us learn martial arts, um, acrobatics, gymnastics, and there were tutors for all this. He got tutors for all this, and we used to learn it every day. It started at 10 in the morning and ended at 10 at night. Okay, it was a month-long workshop. Then he chose 40 of us out of that, and we did productions like City and the Rose, or we did a production of Romeo and Juliet. So in that whole production, we were the characters playing Romeo, Juliet, their families, their house, the fountain where Juliet meets Romeo, the balcony where Juliet looked down on at Romeo. So we were all that. The 40 of us were on stage. We kept on moving. We kept on changing our roles, and all this that we learned about, like it was like joining the dots. So he taught us martial arts. He taught us gymnastics. So in the Indian context, Romeo's family was, I don't know how they called, but these are street performers, Dombaris. We call it Dombaris in Marathi. So his family was a Dombari. So we used to, like, tightrope walking, and we were doing juggling stuff. And then that was shown as, use of that art form. But necessarily we also had a, like, Juliet's brothers, they fight with Romeo. So we were actually stick fighting. We were jumping. So there was a wall made by, like, let's say 20 of us were making a wall, and then we jumped over the wall and then started fighting in front of the audience. So it was brilliant, and we had audience all around us. So it was not a one way. It was not a two-way, like a two-dimensional thing. It was a three-dimensional theater. So, well, that was physical theater for you.
We were hoping, Mayuresh, that you would give a demo, but since we don't have 40 volunteers around, we kind of not ask you to do that.
But I think my gestures have all been speaking that.
So now we move on to the other interest that you have, which is art.
Yeah.
And again, another question from this complete talk. What is the difference in how a normal man looks at the world and how an artist looks at the world?
Okay. Okay. So personally, I think there are no normal men. Everybody is an artist. Okay, everybody has art in them. It is just us who define ourselves, or the society which says, okay, you are an artist, you are this, you are that. We're all artists. Okay, you take a pencil in your hand, you can maybe, if you draw a circle, if you draw a straight line, if you draw a zigzag, you're an artist. Okay, don't worry about that. So I would say that, but perceptions vary. I think it's not the way to look at it, it's the sensitivity with how you look at it. So let's say that, okay, I would want to mention Urban Sketchers here, Urban Sketchers Pune. I belong to a group called Urban Sketchers Pune. Okay, so as an artist, what I do is, um, I hope you can hear me. Is the sound of the rain too much?
No,
Can
sir,
can
you're
some?
clearly audible.
Great. Okay, thank you. Can hear you. They can hear me. I mean, so I mean, is this tone okay? Because I think I'm shouting too much.
We
Is
can
this tone
hear
okay?
you, sir. Only the visuals get hazy at times, but
Right.
you're clearly audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right. No, but I'm having a problem. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, perception. Yeah. So as urban sketchers, when I'm sketching, I'll show you a few of my sketches also. So when I'm sketching, it's not only the visual that I see, it's also the sounds that I hear, it's also the smells that I take. So as urban sketchers, we go every Sunday to a fixed location. You can follow us on Urban Sketchers Pune. We have a group called Urban Sketchers Pune. Okay. So what we do is we post where we are going to go on Thursday, and around 30, 35 of us, generally, even more, we reach at the location, and some people will be drawing buildings, some people will draw people, some people will draw, some sketches will draw trees or the road or the cars. Personally, me being an architect, I tend to take support of buildings and generally the ambience of that whole place. But what I'm saying is, when I'm sketching, I can also smell the tea that's being made on a chai wala next door, or I can smell the wet earth if it's raining. All that becomes a part of the sketch. Now, can you decipher it? Like, can somebody else decipher it? I don't care if somebody else can decipher it or not. I can. So all that I do is for me. Others can have a look at it. So let's look at art for self than for somebody else.
Okay, very short question from Niyati Agarwal, and she wants to know who is your favorite artist and which work of this artist you like the most.
Okay. So let's keep the great artists aside. Okay, I mean, there have been great artists like from Renaissance, or maybe from Italy, or from other European countries, maybe even some like Jackson Pollock from America. But there are very good artists in India. So I always like the work of Haider Raza. Raza has been my favorite artist simply because he works on um, simple geometry, but his compositions and his colors are superb. So it's like, even if when I remember his art just now, it gives me goosebumps. I just like it. So it's a very simple kind of formation. You should see his work. Then there are many artists who are there in India, even currently. There are artists. So there's an artist called Dr. Subodh Kerkar from Goa. He's made a museum. Uh, it's called I think it's Goa Museum of Modern Art or something. I don't remember the name. But his art is very, what do you call it? He does installation. Now, installation art is something completely new or completely ethereal. You can experience it. So he has these troughs made in the sand, sea sand in Goa, and then he light a light at the base of that crater, and there are multiple such craters with multiple lights, and the visual appeal of that whole place is amazing. So you should look at his work. One of his art that I liked also was, you know what he did? He took a plate and he put it under the sea, right? Many plates. Put many plates under the sea. When organisms like grew over that plate, when he got it out, that became art, which was natural art. Amazing. You should look him up. On my favorite my favorite style of work is about water. So there is one artist in Pune who I absolutely follow and who has been my dear friend, and that's Milind Mulik. Milind Mulik is a fabulous watercolor artist. He is known all over the world. In fact, if I think properly, it was his father who attracted me to comics. So if you know these Amar Chitra Kathas, Amar Chitra Katha was illustrated by Milind Mulik's father, Pratap Mulik. And it's amazing the way he looks at people. But of course, Milind takes it to a different level, and I like his work a lot. So there are also a lot of young artists nowadays. So I think you should look at Indian artists who are budding, and a lot of them are doing good work. Right.
Okay, so this is a question from one of our regular question askers, Reet Mahajan,
Okay.
grade 10C. Yeah, I always have to pick up one question from her. Probably end up asking you a question later on. Also. Very
Sure.
specific.
Sure. Sure.
Says usually artists sketch natural beauty,
Okay.
but in urban sketching, what man-made beauty are you trying to get out?
Um, yeah, buildings in urban sketching, we try to do or sketch buildings and generally heritage structures, because eventually heritage structures are going to fall apart, the ambience is going to go, and we are going to give way to tall buildings. um, so interestingly, last Sunday we were called by one of the residents from our area whose building was going to be demolished. And she asked us to sketch that bungalow, which was a memory of her grandfather, who was also an artist, it seems. So some 30 of us went there and we sketched that bungalow from different ways, different styles. Suddenly, Indian Express saw that and said, okay, I would. One of the Indian Express reporters picked it up and asked us questions about what you feel about that structure. So I think it's a confluence of art and architecture where, I mean, as an architect, I look at it in a different way, where I look at cubism, I look at modernism, I look at style, I look at strength, I look at texture. Again, it's the same thing. But again, I would say that we don't let go of concepts like if it rains, then we pick up reflection. So many of the watercolor artists or pen artists or pencil artists, they will pick up reflections and show the lights of the red light, mainly of cars going by. They get reflected in the water, and it gives a beautiful feeling. Or cycles. Milind does a lot of cycles, and I love his cycles. Of course, I love drawing the auto rickshaw. The rickshaw is a big part of Pune, and I like the yellow black form of the rickshaw, which is almost a cube. So These are man-made things that I draw. Also, of course, people, we draw people as well.
And that reminds me, Mario Miranda, he used to have a lot of cats around in his house,
Yeah, yes.
That was kind of,
Right.
his R.K. Lakshman common man equivalent in some sense.
Right, right.
Whenever I go to Goa, there's this place called Martin's Corner.
Correct.
I don't know if you visit
Yes,
or
yes.
not.
Of course.
So I believe this used to stay very close by.
Right.
And their menu card has been made by Mario Miranda.
Yes,
So
yes.
I always, whether I order or not, I definitely end up looking at the menu card for 5 minutes.
Right,
Just to
right.
kind of see.
In fact, interestingly, Gerard has curated a lot of Mario's work, and where Gerard's office is, Mario's gallery is also next door.
Okay.
So anybody who is going to Mario's gallery, they can pick up T-shirts or plates or posters.
With the cartoon.
Yeah,
And I don't know whether you know this or not, but many years ago, Mario Miranda actually sketched a calendar for Bajaj Auto which had rickshaws made by Mario Miranda.
is it? Okay,
I
okay,
have seen that calendar, obviously I don't have it, but if you Google for it, you might get it.
okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. I'll try that. I'll try that.
So, next question is from Gargi, class 8A. She tells you that art is her dream. Okay? And what effort should I do to make a career in this area? Gargi.
Yeah. So Gargi, I would like to say this, that which I don't know what direction of arts you're looking at. Okay, so India is known to be a part of performing arts. So like singing, dancing, or doing theater is a part of performing arts. But if you're looking at visual arts, which is sketching or which is oils or knife work, I think you need to practice it daily. It's a matter of discipline. What you do, like, don't, I mean, ek to, if you draw something, don't erase it. Let it be. Don't erase it. Just build up on it. Because if you erase it, you'll never remember where you went wrong. One. And two, when you're drawing it, you have some thoughts in your mind. And those thoughts connect with your drawing. So keep your thoughts alive. Okay? So keep on building on your thoughts. Uh, Start drawing small. Don't worry. Don't worry about going wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's your style. But uh, start building up on what you like, and that's the way to build it up. Now, I would like to say something here, Atul, that for us, like for Indians, or I don't know, if for parents, career means where you can make money. Here, it's not necessary that this career makes money. Okay, eventually it will. I'm just saying a career is what you would like to do. Keep doing what you like to do. Where it will take you, you never know. So I think you need to create these dots, and they will be linked, they will be useful eventually in your life. So create more dots, try to experiment, try to see more art, try to talk to more people, and see what excites you.
The reading intensity has gone up, so I don't know if you kind of goes
Can
back.
I, do you want me to move a little nearer?
So, so Mira, next question is, what's your take on the art industry as a whole in India? Does it get enough recognition? Kind of connected to what you were saying just now.
Yeah, okay. uh, I think that you especially, and also we, are living in the times where art is being recognized. Uh, in a in a world that is more industrialized, art is very personal. So uh, people are finding solace in art. People are finding strength in art. People are finding resistance in art. So you are living in times. So by the time you decide to really grow up and um, want to be an artist or want to be an appreciator of art, you should go towards it. The moment somebody is an appreciator of art, there will be somebody giving you that art. So be an appreciator also. So I think there is a lot of scope for artists. Now, what kind of art is a personal choice? There is a lot of digital art also. So I think we are heading towards a time where art is becoming a part of our life. Like for example, I don't know if it's a national phenomenon, but if you see these walls, compound walls are being done up with art. So an artist comes or somebody commissions an artist, and then an entire stretch of a wall is done up with styles, with what you want to say, maybe sayings, or maybe what the city indicates. So so it's becoming a kind of an art which happens, which is becoming local. Now, I think as students or even as people, as humans nowadays, we have to understand that art is not restricted to only the rich few or only those who can afford. That only that is not art. Art is something that is day to day. Art is something that even if somebody is cooking, that is art. If somebody is laying the table, that is art, isn't it? So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's sold. It's something that's experienced. So if you look at the formation of the tree along, or if you look at the rainfall and the haze that it puts, you think of art. So I think art is becoming open now, and you are the people who are going to take it ahead. So when I say take it ahead, you're also doing it, and you're also uh, experiencing it. Yeah, so be open to it.
Okay. Today is Sonera Day.
Okay,
Two
sure.
more questions from her. Let me come to the next one.
Go, Sonera.
Okay. Do you believe that it's only education or a specific course that can help define a person or even an artist's future? Education का क्या
Okay,
role है?
okay.
And okay, before I forget, let me share with you, Mayuresh, that we have some lovely artworks at Mindtree School in Ambala. Most of them are created by students. We've also had some Japanese artists who come and kind of done some work there. We have a whole collection of junk created
Scrap,
kind of
okay.
scrap art from scrap,
Right,
making
right.
people using engine parts and all that kind of stuff.
Lovely,
So
lovely.
maybe we'll host you sometime over there and show you the
Absolutely,
stuff.
absolutely. So I think I would love to be a part. I would love to see your school and love to see your work. I would also like to paint a few walls in your school. So invite me. Keep. मैं इसको बोल के थक चुका हूँ. But anyway, so just remind me of one more artist because of this junk. Look at Arzan Khambata. Okay, Arzan Khambata is an artist who does work from junk, and he's an architect. So he started putting junk together, and now he does a lot of work for corporates. So check his work. So looking at education in art, what role does education play in art is something which I ask myself, because personally, though I have had some kind of drawing teacher, not even a teacher, drawing teacher come into my house to teach me drawing, because that was the time then I was 8 years old. Still, I think that the techniques, what art education will teach you is techniques. And how to make use of those techniques is something that your mind has to tell you, and experimenting. But I mean, if you keep on experimenting also, you will reach a certain level. So do artists have to be educated? Not necessarily, but yes, it gives them an edge. It gives them an edge of understanding, because it's like this, that can somebody in the village not build a house? Do they really need architect? No, they don't. But learning architecture, um, we can sort out, or we can straighten a lot of things beforehand, and we don't do it and fail and do it again. करते हैं, वो भी होता है. But anyways, I think that is the difference in and any kind of education, that they will teach you a formal thought process, but they can never teach you everything. So art education or any kind of education will teach you 20% of the world, so 20% of how you make use of it. Eventually, when you get into it, like, okay, I'll tell you everything about how to swim. Okay, I can know it, that person is in water, how to, how to do the backstroke, how to do the how to do the fly. I can tell you everything in theory, but you can only jump into the water and start swimming. No, so that's how it is. That's the change. So, but knowing that you cannot breathe underwater is an education. Don't take your breath inside in the water, otherwise you're going to have water in your lungs. So I'm just saying that's what you need to remember, right?
Okay. Another question related to education, and this is kind of addressed to you slightly in a different context. Is from Parneet Kaur of class 8C, and yeah, so we also have a student from 7th standard that will show you her face very soon.
Sure.
Okay, so Parneet asked, many parents are supportive
Right.
and help their child in whatever field the child chooses.
Oh.
What advice would you like to give to children who don't have supportive parents?
Ah, well, I mean, it's like, if I was a commentator, I would say, "Oh, that's a googly." Okay, I would like to be a little candid here, that many parents are supportive to their understanding. Okay, it's, you cannot hold it against them if they are not supportive completely. They're supportive about something, right? So it's their upbringing that they are bringing on the table. That's one thing. I think till a certain point of time, children need to understand what their parents are saying, right? In the sense that they are not wishing you unwell. They want the best for you, but they are looking at certain parameters. They're looking at a long-term goal, right? Now, they may think that you may falter. They don't want you to falter. They don't want you to, fail or trip. So that's why they're telling you all these things out of their experience, which may not be personal, which may be second hand, that somebody in their family did this and this didn't happen. Okay, so they bring this to the table. But I would say that as a child, what you need to do is, you need to speak your mind. You need to have a conversation. Now, when this conversation happens is something that is very, very individual. It's as per each family. And yes, there's a fear. Now, the fear is in the child, there's a fear in the parent's mind also. Fear for you, and you are scared of them, right? So I think sometimes you need to uh, be critical about, what you want to do. Now you say that, no, now I want to let's say, run away from home and become a part of the Bollywood industry. Let's take it. I mean, that they'll not agree, but eventually you say that no, I actually want to become an actor. Then there's a process to it, and you can go through that process. You can keep the dream alive within you. There will be some experience, there will be some occasion where you can tell them what you want to say. You can hear them out. There has to be a two-way dialogue, and that will lead to the right conclusion. Okay, so I'm a parent, and I understand what my students go through in the college. So there is both a level thing that I would like to advise here, that uh, don't lose hope, right? And build it up slowly, like brick by brick, stone by stone, and then you realize that there is already something that you can show them. For example, let's say that you have a like a 5-year plan. Write it down. Say that, by this time I want to be here, and this is how I want to go about it, and this is where it should be. This is where I look at the future, and I want your support to reach this level. But of course, there will be other things that are coming in the way. So I would say that as children, by the time you really get into the system, listen to them, right? I hope I'm politically right, but
I will take the size of the children,
Yes.
the parent and the kid.
yeah,
So, isn't it a fact that most parents are not interested in their kid's success? They are they are interested in the kid not failing, which is not really the same as being successful,
Yeah.
right? So how does one overcome this conservatism? Because whatever you do, 90% of parents will say "raste pe nahi aana chahiye." So that's the kind of attitude they have. And for them, a kid taking a drop here is disaster.
blasphemy.
Exactly. I think we guys are cool. So many of us kind of took so many years off and enjoyed it, but somehow today's parents don't seem to agree to that. So I will pester you a little bit more on that. And I want, how does a kid convince parents? I think that's an issue which, we've given a diplomatic answer.
No,
All
no,
the
it's
parents
not.
would be
No,
very
no,
happy
no, no, it's
listening
not
to you.
diplomatic. It's not diplomatic. I would like to tell the students that to make their life a little bearable, because if there's a goal in place, then how you achieve it? Like, I mean, how does one do it? Now, it's an individual way of a life. Let me look at it this way: that some parents do not have money, right? What do they do? What can they tell you? So money is required for certain things, but it doesn't stop. So let's say that money to go to an art school. No, it's difficult, but it doesn't stop you from being an artist, right? So keep that pace up. Now, yes, parents don't want children to fail. They don't care about their success. Now, I think let's look at a paradigm shift here. I would say that it's about happiness. You have to be happy in what you do, right? And that's the parameter of success that one looks at. Now, uh, failing is something which is very, very stereotypical in the Indian context. People do badly. I wouldn't even say fail, but do badly in terms of the society, but they're learning something in it. They're using it, and you never know where it will take you. But I cannot really answer your question. I don't want to be really now political in this,
Fair enough.
but I can't answer your question for each family.
Right.
It's their individual story. So the narrative changes with each family. But I would say that the child, I mean, क्या बोलते हैं उसकी किसकी जीत होती है? सत्य की जीत होती है या जो कुछ. So just keep at it. I would say just keep at it.
Fair enough. So, Parneet, if I were to rephrase what Mayuresh says, लगे रहो परनीत भाई.
बिल्कुल.
परनीत बहन.
बिल्कुल.
परनीत बहन. So maybe what happens is I think parents sometimes have to make this distinction between infatuations and passions. Right? So there are so many fads that kids come across that a parent is not really sure whether this is going to be a lifelong love affair or it's just one of those overnight sensations kind of thing, you know. So maybe one way is they want to really check how serious you are about what you're saying, and maybe time can only give that answer. So if you persist with that for not just a few months but for a few years, I think the parent will get convinced that you're serious about it, and hopefully they will listen to you. So I think that's it. Lage raho.
So can I mean, मेरे को नहीं ये I don't want even want the camera on me or whatever. But the thing is, with my child, as children, if you're true to your word also, like many times I see a lot of students. Let's say I'll take this example. Okay, I want to say this, but it's something that will जो नहीं करना चाहिए, that always attracts you, and it's a human tendency. You know that this may lead to consequences like smoking, right? Now who decides? Like, you have to decide that I'm not going to go, and there will be situations where the parents are not around. You are outside with friends and somebody says अरे कुछ नहीं होता, but you know problem hai. You know the truth, so follow your truth. Now this is exactly what the parents are scared of, that तो उसके ये तो एक है. Let me look at that. वो कुछ फैड बीच में आया था, because you said fad, it just struck me. वो blue whale या कुछ था ना, game that eventually the child dies. I mean, come on, who wants their child dead? So ये चीजें है ना, something carries you. I mean, you get carried away as children, and the parents are left looking at you, what's happening, and they can't help you after a certain time. So they want to do something beforehand. अभी ये success और failure की बात नहीं है, ये safety की बात है. So I'm just putting this parameter. So there are multiple things. So you are, I mean, human life is complex, but simplicity of like जो पुराने जमाने से चला आ रहा है कि you really have to respect some things. You really have to understand, realize, and you have to be open in discussion. I would say that these things will help. There ज़्यादा और भी होंगे. अभी मेरे को कुछ ऐसा कुछ I can't come across with certain words, but these are things that hold true even in our society. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do quick fire round now.
Oops.
Yep. So I'm going to ask you questions very, very fast, and you'll give me an answer in like hardly 5-10 words or something.
And if I can't,
then say pass.
Okay. No, but I want to answer, but I want to answer in the long format.
We're running out of time, sir.
Sure. Okay.
So next question is from Kunsh.
Huh.
Is there something that you want to learn or you wish to be better at?
Yes, I want to learn digital art, and I've never touched digital art. I've ordered an iPad Air, which is coming in Diwali. And an Apple Pencil.
You pamper yourself.
No, after a long time, I'm using broken laptops and stuff, but I said, okay, let me do this.
Next question coming from Keshav Mittal. What is that one thing in life that you are most grateful for?
I'm grateful for my life. Okay.
For your
life.
Life. Okay. I thought you said wife.
वो तो she's my life, yeah. It's the same difference.
Okay. I hope she's listening.
Yeah, she is. But I mean, so actually speaking, when I say life, I mean every day. Imagine that you're actually not opening your eyes in the morning. So I'm happy that I'm opening my eyes in the morning and I'm alive.
Okay. Next question, Sonira. Do you write poetry?
Yes, I do.
That was a hesitant yes.
No, I do. Do you want to listen to one couplet that I've written?
Okay.
वो तो
remember
कुछ नहीं. मैंने तो लिख के लाया हूँ.
So this is to prove that he writes poetry.
No. So I just think that there are certain things when I'm doing art, I write something along with the art because it's a memory.
something written over here in the pads?
वो है लेकिन ये पढ़ता हूँ मैं, ठीक है? तो तुम्हारा you can keep on with the questions. I can, ये आता है तो मैं बोल देता हूँ.
Take your time. It's on that. And in the meantime, can I show?
Yes, yes, please,
some of
please,
the sketches?
please.
So you can just focus the camera here.
Wait. I'll show you. I'll show you something which is.
Okay, so
Which
let's
they-
look at the art first,
Yeah,
and then we can.
Yeah, just do that. I have opened the poetry, but you know what? So this is something that I did. This is urban sketching, but this is an urban sketching in the lockdown. Can you see it? Can you see it? दिख रहा है क्या? पूरा दिख रहा है? See, so it's like a, yeah, okay. So this
I
is
will
something
put-
that I did in the lockdown at home, and generally what happens is,
The fish eye view.
yeah. So so there is an artist called Paul Heaston. Paul Heaston is also an urban sketcher, not from India, and he does these fisheye views, like it's a curved profile, and he also draws himself. So a part of himself, his laps and his sketchbook and his hands are seen. So taking inspiration and doing stuff. But I'll also show you some other stuff which is done on location and which I like. Okay, so I want to show you this because for the simple reason. So this is. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Omkareshwar.
Yeah,
Somewhere
it's
there, huh?
the roadside road. I mean, it's a riverside road that we have in Pune. Now, if you see, ये जो है ना, ये जो ना वो ड्रेनेज का आया हुआ ऊपर आया हुआ ये चेंबर है, लेकिन दिखाना तो है, जो दिखता है वो दिखाना है. So the concept of urban sketching is, sketching is an international forum, and urban sketching says that I will show you my city one sketch at a time. So this is what it is. So I just want to say that there's nothing that you want to hide, but something that will bring up even the beauty of a mundane thing. And this is another aspect that I would want to share with you. Last thing, I will not take your time, but
I think you can go on. We'll kind of cut down on the number of our questions that come later.
eventually, okay,
Yeah.
okay. But I want to show you this because this is just a mundane. अपना वो जो MSCB का box रहता है ना,
Oh, okay.
वो
State
था.
electricity board.
हाँ, वो स्टेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड का
Distribution box.
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लाल कलर का बॉक्स है, वो मालूम नहीं लगा.
Here in this one,
हाँ, देख लो उसमें.
you mark it.
I had marked it, but it seems to have fallen off. Sorry guys, an artist is completely haywire. क्या करें? Higher. Here. So this, if you see, can you see it? Yeah, can you see it? So this is just an MSCB box with these MSCB transforming box like the distribution boards will always have these leaflets put on it and flyers stuck on it. But it's brilliant. I mean, I just love it. And I see less of post boxes nowadays, but I see these, so I like them. Yeah. So I would like to read something which came from. I wrote about this. I wrote about this for a person who had put something on the group, and he had sketched himself. And this guy is pretty old, but he sketches beautifully. And he said, so somebody said, "Wow, very dynamic, very nice sketch." So he says, check your eyes, girl. मैं तो ऐसे ही बूढ़ा हो गया हूँ. क्या अच्छा क्या है इसमें? तो I wrote to him कि बुढ़ापा है तो है, हरदम बुरा ही क्यों होना चाहिए? बढ़िया चित्रकार है तो है, मान लो भाई, इस पर सबकी चित्कार क्यों होनी चाहिए? हम में है एक अंदरूनी शक्ति जो है चलाती ये प्रकृति, हम भी उसके बाशिंदे अपने आप को है समझते, अब ये है तो है.
Wow, Ustad. Irshad. Huh?
So
It's beautifully composed, sir.
Thank you. It was just an instant. I mean, one just says this and leaves it to that person to analyze it. So
Okay. Next question.
Right.
Pranav Arora, class 9. Do you think at any point of time that pursuing theatre was more appropriate than taking up interior design?
I don't know if so. Okay, not that I didn't try, but I didn't want to. I wanted to. I wanted to do something creative, create something, and then give it to people, which was static, which was built from my mind, and I could coordinate it and get it done. Whereas theater would be where I am just performing, right? So I did try my hand in even these serials,
Oh, okay.
television serials,
Yeah,
right?
you acted there?
I've acted in some serials.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a serial called Peshwai, and well, you blink and you'll miss me, but so nothing great. But I realized that when I went there, it's so I like theater, but this kind of thing, serials, they're too fake, right? So I make a mistake. I made hundreds of mistakes because they're looking at an angle. They're looking at, if I'm blinking, if I'm making some movement with my lip, if my hairstyle is not right. So I keep on giving takes and takes and takes. I said, this is not for me. This is not happening. But for theater, what happens is you have to keep on moving from place to place also with the troupe. And that's not for me. I mean, I needed to be a part of this place where I'm doing architecture, and architecture actually was my first love. So I think I looked at architecture more.
Okay, that's a nice one. Last question.
हाँ, हो गए?
Yeah.
चलो ठीक है.
Now you've done so much in your life, architecture, theater, art, वगैरह वगैरह. ठीक है. So जिंदगी का मकसद क्या है? This is a question from Danisha Talwar of Standard 8.
एक मिनट, किसके जिंदगी का मकसद क्या? मेरा. क्योंकि हर किसी का जिंदगी का मकसद जीना ही है. And I think if you live it happily, I look at a lot of happiness. Now, happiness would be very personal. Happiness for me. So the moment I am happy, I give happiness. So it's like this. That I always remember this. Okay, when you're in flight, when you're flying, they say that when the oxygen mask drops down, first see that you are breathing, right? You have to be alive. तो बाकी की मदद कर सकते हो, बाकियों की. तो पहले अपनी मदद करो बस, and then see to it that you are giving joy to others with what you're doing. So that's my मकसद है. बस इतना simple है, और कुछ नहीं है, और कुछ नहीं. You're asking my मकसद in terms of whether I want to build cities.
What is that oxygen for you?
I think art is the oxygen.
Art.
Yes. And I would say that one thing I learned in this urban sketching is, I've kind of experimented, not learned, but I learned learned in terms of the formal way, but I started doing watercolors. Okay. So I realized that water is something that gives life to colors in watercolors. So the amount of water and the point where you touch color is something that will create magic. So I want to be that water. तो कोई भी है ना, तो सबके पास कुछ कलर है, सबके पास कुछ इमोशन है. I want that emotion to be a part of me where it gives it. I mean, I take it and make it magic. So possible if वो मकसद अगर चल जाता है तो ठीक है, नहीं चलता है तो भी ठीक है.
चलेगा. जल है तो बल है.
बस बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
आपने भी कविता कह दी इस बहाने.
बस नहीं तो कल है ही.
भैया नल है, कल है, बल है, बहुत सारे याद हो सकते हैं. Okay. So Tarunjit, I think I'm done with my questions. So I'll kind of open it for student questions, and then you can kind of conclude after that. So
Sure,
over
sir.
to you, Naresh, you have the mic.
Yes, I do have it.
Yes, students, kindly raise your hands for questions that you would like to ask, sir, Mr. Shirolkar.
You can call me Mayuresh. My Mr. Shirolkar makes it very formal.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes, kindly raise your hands, those who would like to ask any further
I hope-
questions.
Yeah, and I think you know what you can. Other students listening to me? I mean, can they hear me? Great.
Yes,
So
sir,
I would,
absolutely.
yeah, I would say that किसी को अगर any questions है तो बात ही कर लेंगे. लेकिन you can just have a dialogue with me. You can say what you feel with what I'm saying. It doesn't really need to be even a question. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so you can share your ideas, you can share what you've heard, what your perceptions are with sir.
Right.
Okay, I would like Krati Mahajan. Krati Mahajan, unmute yourself. Krati Mahajan, can you hear me? I believe there's some technical glitch, sir. Reet Mahajan.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Who's this?
Reet Mahajan, sir.
Hi, Reet.
Reet, you can turn on your camera, bache, and ask or share a dialogue with sir.
Yeah,
Reet की बात कर रहे थे ना? हाँ, okay. Hi, Reet.
hello, sir.
Hi.
Sir, I wanted to ask that did you choose, your family is filled with doctors. Was your choosing architecture as the desired field because of your love for drawing or the hate for dissection or other things related to drawing, like being a doctor?
Okay. So I think it was more to do with creating something, because I thought that as doctors, what they would be doing is, of course, they're a necessity, but what they would be doing is odd hours, and it was also that the body was made in a certain way, it couldn't be really changed. So I looked at it that being an architect, I would create something new which I would be able to see. So it was not the hate of medicine. Of course, there was a hate of studying it, but who's going to do that? I mean, I failed in biology, so it was out of the question anyways. So, but I love drawing, yes, but drawing was just something which makes you express. But I think I love creating something and putting it in front of people. Had somebody told me that medicine has this kind of creation and biotechnology was there then, and prosthetics was a new field, or cosmeticology was the new thing, I would have gone for medicine also. But then we didn't know all these things.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Pleasure.
Nevidya Jain. Nevidya Jain.
Yes, ma'am. Are you able
Yes.
to hear me?
Yes, Bachu, you're clearly audible.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask sir that, sir, what do you have your opinion about choosing a career other than passion? Like it is always said that we should follow a passion in our life, sir, but passion is always not something that we can choose for our career. So, what is your opinion about choosing a career other than passion?
I think you should have a liking to do what you want to do, is the primary thing that I would say. Also, there is some kind of thought to eventually what it's going to be for the world. How can you fit in the whole machine which is called the world? Can you be a part of this movement? Can you be a part of creating a new world for yourself? So these are things that I would say make you realize a direction. So people say that अरे ये medicine or engineering और ये सब standard हो गया है, लेकिन ऐसी कुछ नहीं है, because people want doctors. You realize in the pandemic that medicine is something that is running the world, which is sustaining the world. And of course, there are other people who are supporting. There are regular workers who are doing these things. So I would say you need to decide what your long-term liking is. What can you sustain as an adult? Right?
Okay, sir.
Now उसमें तो पैसा तो है ही यार, but one needs to take a call. Yes, depending on what can you really be a part of this thing that you're doing day in and day out. But there is no fixed choice. So you decide you want to chuck it halfway, even when you finished your studying and you're into the profession, and you say ये नहीं है मेरे लिए, अरे यार अभी you are lucky to be able to change it also. But yeah, that's
Okay,
a
sir.
yeah.
Right. The next question, Verma. Rishit, बच्चे. All right. Moving on to Yashvi Jain.
Sorry, नाम नहीं सुना.
Yashvi Jain.
Yashvi Jain. Okay. Yes, Yashvi.
Yashvi Jain. Unmute yourself, बच्चे. Yashvi है. All right. Some technical glitch, and the student was not able to unmute. But I believe that's all for the day.
That's all. Can
We
they
are
can they
very
type a
grateful to
a
you.
question?
Yes, sir.
नहीं, ठीक है. Sure.
Sir,
Go ahead.
if I see something in the post, I'll definitely share that.
Please.
I'll
Please.
speak in a minute.
Okay. So I have my Facebook page as Moz Art, MOH''S''ART. You can check it out. And similarly, MOHS_ART on Insta, because I don't think most of them are on Facebook anymore. They've shifted to Insta. But I'm not on Twitter. I'm there, but I'm lazy there. वो बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है. But you can follow me on
I
Insta.
will definitely share.
Please.
I'll share this with the students, and
Right.
I'm sure that many of them will be inspired. Simple thoughts, yet they are so deep. This was truly a very interactive session.
Thank you.
As we head towards the end of today's session, I'm reminded of Albert Einstein's words. He once quoted, "Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience." And what you shared with us is truly a treasure of experience, sir. We are very grateful to you. We would like to thank you from the core of our heart for what wealth of experience that you've shared with us. And I'm sure that your inspiring words are going to motivate students, and they are going to carve a career for themselves and take a balanced approach on life. Thank you
Yes.
so much, sir. Thank you so much, Atul, sir. And
Yes,
it's a
thank you. Thanks a
wonderful
lot.
and lovely session.
Yes, thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so much, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Have a great life, people.
Goodbye.
Be happy.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Right.
you.
I'll just pass on the mic to Atul.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, Mayuresh. And one thing which we really missed, which was your physical theater kind of thing. We would kind of, imagining it, right? But it would be very nice. I think you did send me a recording or two of the plays that you've taken part in, and I can assure all of you that it's really very enjoyable. And I think the workshops are much more enjoyable because I think Mayuresh's belief is that theater should involve the audience also.
Absolutely.
And I'd kind of seen that happening on a few occasions.
Call me to Ambala.
Correct. So he's waiting for the
Sure, sir.
invitation
We
to
look
Ambala.
forward. Please,
Okay.
we hereby extend an invitation to you, and it would be lovely to have you around.
And he might even make some sketches of Ambala.
हाँ बिल्कुल.
Yeah,
बिल्कुल.
when
वो तो
he's
अच्छा ही
there. Okay. So I
Sure,
think
sir.
with that, we will formally thank Mayuresh. She's got a lot more photographs, sketches that he could have shown, but again, we are running out of time, and I'm sure a lot of them are posted on the Insta pages, right? So you could have a look at that. So I think I'll conclude over here. Over to you, Tarunjit. You can just wrap up things now.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, Atul, sir. You've been a lovely and a wonderful host. You've interacted so well, kept us all engaged, and the questions were truly engaging. And I'm sure we look forward to yet another session of Live Talk, which will be scheduled shortly. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye, sir.
Leave.